This video is going to be pretty long, I gotta say. I'm sorry guys, but I have this many 3DS games and an entire case of DS games. But I'm determined. Also, be my dog in the background, she's cute. Okay, on with the video. So, I'll be reviewing all of my 3DS games and give you my thoughts on them, just like I did in my Wii and Wii U one. And let's get right into the video. So, for the first game that we have, I have Super Mario 3D Land. Now, Super Mario 3D Land it was probably one of my first games that I got on my 3DS. It's kind of a classic, but nonetheless a really good game. Personally, I wasn't a huge fan of the 3D feature on the 3DS because it kind of made me like motion sick in a way. But still, the game was in 3D, so it makes sense. But it was a really fun game. I kind of forget what the plot is, but it adds a lot of new abilities. Boomerang Mario was so much fun. I remember whenever I got that ability, I tried to keep it for as long as I could. It was a really good game. I liked the ability to store like different power-ups. So you could be wearing the fire flower, but then you could also store the Tanuki outfit for later. It's a really cool mechanic. The game was really fun. It's just like a typical Mario game. Like you go through 8 worlds. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. I would give it about like a 7 out of 10 though, because it's alright, you know? Okay, on to our second game. We have another Mario game. We have Paper Mario Sticker Star. Now, Paper Mario Sticker Star, this is the only Paper Mario game that I've played, which, I've heard that this is one of the worst ones. Not saying that it was bad. I personally thought it was really fun as a kid. I really liked the idea of the RPG aspect where you could like take turns fighting, and like you have to like do combos and perform combos. It's a really fun game. The mechanics and like the fighting in this game are really, really good. I think they're some of the best in like the entire Mario franchise. But that goes for all of the Paper Mario games, and I do really want to try out more of them. But for this one, I really liked that you could go into like 3D modes too. Like you had to like take a sticker of like a fan and then like put it on like a windmill to make the windmill blow. It was cool. It had some really cool ideas, but I haven't finished it, and because of that, I think I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10. This one. Still a good game though. Okay, our third 3DS game is Angry Birds, the Trilogy. Trilogy, that's what it is. Now, Angry Birds, it's like the game that you played on your phone. It's very similar, and I think it's exactly the same actually. But Angry Birds is fun. Essentially what it is that you play as different kinds of birds. Here's Red, that's Chuck, I believe, and then I think his name's just Palm. But the pigs, the little green guys, they stole the birds' eggs, and your mission is to get them back by using a slingshot to fling them at the pig's base. And each of the birds have different abilities. So, like, the bomb bird will blow up. This one will, like, go really fast. And then the red is just, like, a basic one. Like, he doesn't do too much. There isn't much of a story to this game, but it is still really good. And I'm not sure what the other 2 games are that it comes with. But I definitely know that the first one was really good. It was really fun. I played it so much as a kid. I would give it a 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. I think Angry Birds deserves that. The movies were pretty alright too. I haven't seen them in a long time though. And for our next 3DS game, we have Yokai Watch. And don't ask me why. I have 2 copies of Yokai Watch. Both complete too. So we'll just be going over the first one. So this game was kinda like, I'm sorry, but I think it's pretty similar to Pokemon. And I don't know if that makes any Yokai Watch fans mad, but Icarus to fight other ones. And it just keeps going and going. I haven't finished it, but I did have a lot of fun with it when I was a kid. As I do with most of my games, I thought that the character designs were really cool. They're really funky. Like, they're not like Pokemon. They don't look like Pokemon, at least. Like, that guy's cool. I really like the cat. The cat's really cool. They all have their own special moves. It's overall a pretty decent game. I would give it a solid 7.5. Nothing too high yet. We will get to some games that I love, though, so don't worry. But I'm actually planning on playing this game again, though, and I want to finish it this time. So maybe that review will change, and I'll let you guys know if it does. But right now it's sitting at a 7.5 from what I have played. Let's to the side real quick. Sorry if that was loud. Okay, so this next game, I actually am missing the display for it, but it is Kid Icarus. So I've played this game and it was pretty good. Actually, it was really, really fun. So you fly around as Pit, and a lot of people would know Pit from Super Smash Bros. He's one of the characters in Super Smash Bros. But other than that, he doesn't have many games, which is unfortunate because I think he is such a cool character. He is such an awesome character. Like, he looks like an angel. Like, it's really cool with like a bow. And the characters in this game are so cool. The gameplay is really fun. You like fly around and like shoot bad guys. And honestly, I really enjoyed this game. I think it's very underrated. And I think that they should keep making more games with Pit in it, because there is really none, you know? Like, you don't... I've never heard of any other one, aside from like the SNES, like the original Kid Icarus game. Like, they haven't made one for the Switch, the Wii U, or like even the Wii, I think. I don't know, maybe they have made one for the Wii. But in recent years, Pit hasn't gotten enough love. I think it's a really good game. I would give this one a solid 8.5 out of 10. Another game I need to play through again, though. Okay, this next game, I don't really remember. It's called Nano Assault. I maybe played it as a kid, but it looks pretty cool. It looks pretty sweet. After flicking through these games, it just reminds me that I need to play a lot of these again. But clearly, this one, it just wasn't that memorable for me. I probably have played it, but it looks like you play as a little spaceship, like a micro spaceship, like a small little ship, shooting at like some sort of like bacteria. Let me read the back. Blast your way through 32 twisted cell stages. So you're like shooting cells in the body, I think. I don't know. Battle IO organic bosses, including the black nucleus and hyper blobs. Upgrade your weapons to fight off bigger infections. You know, this game sounds pretty cool. I haven't played it though, so I'm not going to give it like a out of 10 review. Or at least I probably have played it, but I just kind of forget it. So I'll just give it like a neutral, like an unknown, until I have played it before. So we're going to leave this one blank. So moving on to the next game we have. This game was fun. So this is SpongeBob SquarePants, Plankton's Robotic Revenge. So in this game, I do remember this game. So in this game, you can play as SpongeBob, Patrick, Sandy. And I think you can play as Mr. Krabs and Squidward too, which is really fun. You can play as the whole cast. But essentially, Plankton is taking over with a bunch of different robots. And you have to go through a bunch of levels, and at the end of each, like, world, there's a new Plankton boss to fight. And I think Plankton's using, like, his cousins to fight, like... And then Plankton's the final boss, but Plankton's cousins are, like, the other bosses that are in the machines. I think that's how it went. Or maybe that was just a SpongeBob episode that I remember. I do remember this game being very fun. I think that I will personally give it a solid 7.5 out of 10. Nothing too crazy, but, you know, a decent game nonetheless. Rabbids games. They're pretty ridiculous. Like, they're all silly. So this game, I do have fond memories of. So, this game, you play it, you collect Rabbids, actually. You collect different Rabbids from different worlds. And each of the levels are like different mini games. Like, some of the mini games, you have to like shoot a cow through like loop-de-loops. And some of the levels, you have to fight Rabbids with your Rabbids that you've collected. It was a really fun game, but is it a game that I would probably look back on and play again? Probably not. It was fun as a kid, but I think that it's a game that I like enjoyed as a kid, but I wouldn't enjoy again playing through. So I'll give this one probably like a 6 out of 10. Still not too bad, but it's not a game that I'm probably gonna go back on. Unless I change my mind. But right now, I'm gonna stick at that. It's just a bunch of mini games, and the mini games actually repeat themselves a lot. Like, you'll be playing the same levels essentially, like back to back, which makes it kind of not fun. Let's move on to the next game. The next game is really good. So this is Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time 3D. So this game deserved a port to the 3DS. This game is really, really, really fun. Really, really fun. The only thing is, I remember as a kid, I wasn't able to pass the first, like, forest area. Because I didn't know how to do it, but I learned eventually. But this game is so much fun. I really like the Legend of Zelda games because a lot of the adventure aspects, and I think Ganondorf is such a cool villain. It is such a fun game. I would recommend this if you have a 3DS. Pick up this one or Majora's Mask. They're both really, really fun. And I think the dual screen really helps with like the atmosphere. Like, you don't have to keep pulling up a map or pulling up your items. You literally have them on the bottom screen and you don't have to worry about pausing. Like, it's really, really fun. So, just for that, I would give this game a solid, probably a 9 out of 10. A 9 out of 10. I think Legend of Zelda deserves it. And I haven't played any of the new games that are on the Switch, unfortunately. But I've heard so many good things about it, and I'm thinking about getting Breath of the Wild for my Wii U. So, especially because it's like $20. So it's a lot cheaper than the $80 one on the Switch. So I'd rather do that. But I think that it's definitely something that I'll be looking into. I also want to get Majora's Mask for the 3DS. And I also need to replay this one. So it's just a great game. I recommend it. Okay, now we're getting to my favorites. That one too, included. So this is Kirby Planet Robobot. Kirby Planet Robobot. You may have seen me on the my game store roleplay talk about this game, but I'll talk about it some more because it's in my collection. So Kirby Planet Robobot, you play as Kirby, of course, and this is probably, if not, one of my favorite Kirby games. I love this game. I think that all the abilities are so cool, and the fact that all the abilities can be turned into a mech form is so much cooler. And the fact that there are so many different modes inside of it too. Like, you have Kirby 3D Rumble, which is like a 3D version of a Kirby game. And then Team Kirby Clash, which I played so much with one of my cousins. It is essentially a boss rush. So you're fighting a bunch of different Kirby bosses, back to back to back to back. And it's really good. The actual plot of it, I don't remember the plot, but I remember the final boss, because the final boss freaked me out so much. So the final boss looks like a giant clock, but like his face looks like a baby almost. It's kind of weird, and you're fighting in this giant spaceship. But clearly the boss was memorable, because I remember it still. And I just remember this game being so good. My favorite Kirby game, though, has got to be Kirby's Return to Dreamland. I think Magolor is such a cool villain, and his like entire plot of like being your friend and then being like your biggest enemy at the end of it was done so well. It was done so well. next game, we have Super Smash Bros. For the 3DS. Super Smash Bros. Now, Super Smash Bros. It's just like Super Smash Bros. So, what you do if you don't know about Super Smash Bros., you can pick from so many different characters from the Nintendo library. Like, look, you have Toon Link, Meta Knight, almost forgot, Little Mac, Charizard, Rosalina, Wii Fit Trainer, Shulk, Bowser, Fox, Yoshi, Zelda, Lucario. So many more. There's so many characters in this game. And the fact that it is portable makes it so much better. And it can also be played with the Wii U version too, so you can essentially when you're playing on this one, you can play with people that are using the Wii U version, which is awesome. I do like the some of the rush modes too, like some of the different modes that they added. It's really fun. And the fact that you can turn your Miis into fighters, which was the new in this one, is really cool. I would give this game about an 8 out of 10. Now, since there already are newer Smash Bros., like I would recommend Super Smash Bros. Ultimate over this one. Just because it's newer, has more characters, and is for the Switch. But for the time, this was amazing. It was really fun. Okay, on to the next 3DS game. We have Pokemon Omega Ruby. Now, Pokemon Omega Ruby, I have a big past with. This was probably the first Pokemon game that I finished, like, entirely. And I loved it. I loved every second of it. I love the Hoenn region, which is where this game takes place. And I like all the different gym battles. So what you have to do, the little plot, is that you play as a Pokemon trainer, and you get to choose one of these 3 starters. I picked him out of Gift, by the way. And you have to go through different gyms, and your goal is to be the very best. Like, be the best Pokemon trainer, so you want to be the champion at the end. You also got to catch the legendary, which is Groudon in this one, Primal Groudon. And, yeah, it was really good. I also liked that there's a lot of different adventure aspects, like with Latios, or Latios, depending on your version. You could go and fly around the entire world, which was so cool. It was so cool to see the world that you're playing in from like a high-end view, and being able to just fly to anywhere you want. Instead of the typical Pokemon, you click the fly button, and then it just sends you there. In this one, you can actually like soar around to whichever place you want. And it was so cool, and I'm sad that they don't do that anymore. I think Omega Ruby was like, and Alpha Sapphire were like peak Pokemon games. I'm sad that the Switch hasn't been able to replicate something like this, like a remake like this, because this is the best remake, I think, in any Pokemon game. Okay, moving on to the next game. Oh, I would give this an 8.5 out of 10. Personally. Okay, our next game is Kirby Triple Deluxe. So, the plot of Kirby Triple Deluxe, I don't really remember this one, but I do like the game modes on the back. So it is a normal Kirby game, basically, but Kirby has this amazing superpower. Like, Kirby can suck enemies up and then take their abilities, right? But in this one, Kirby's like suck ability becomes like super, like they can like destroy trees and like everything around them, and it was very cool. They also hired 4 new abilities. They got like a juggler, an archer, bells, and then some kind of beetle, and that's the powerful. Actually, let me read it. Deluxe abilities: inhale massive enemies and obstacles with the new Hypernova ability. That's what it's called, Hypernova. And you can jump between the foreground and the background. And one of my favorite parts about all of the 3DS Kirby games and you just fight each other. Instead of fighting bosses, you fight each other. And it is so much fun. I think it's kind of competitive, but it's really fun. You can collect over 200 different types of keychains that are scattered throughout all the different levels. And the drum dash is the other one, so you play as King DDD. And you have to bounce across a bunch of different drums, which is cool, but it's not as fun. I like the fighting one. I think that one was really fun. I would give this game a solid 8.5 out of 10. I honestly just love the Kirby games, so a bit of a bias. Okay. We're coming up across probably one of my favorite games of all time. And it is Animal Crossing New Leaf. The amount of time I have put into this game is probably ridiculous. So the plot of Animal Crossing New Leaf is that you play as a new mayor to a town. You gotta make your mark as the mayor. You gotta improve the stores. You gotta improve the life of your villagers by adding bridges, planting flowers. And the cool thing about all the Animal Crossing games is that the time of day and the actual date lines up with the your real life. Like, so if it is February in life, then it'll be February in the game, and it'll be snowing and stuff. And I personally like this game more than the Switch one, New Horizons. Personally, because I think that it's really cool that you're kind of already going to an already made town, and you just have to help improve it. You gotta like bring in new things. I don't know. I think it was also a lot of like childhood nostalgia, but I just really, really, really love this game. I think this is the first game of the 3DS ones that I will be giving a 10 out of 10. I think Animal Crossing just holds a really nice place in my heart, all the Animal Crossing games. And this is probably my favorite one, just because of all the memories it holds. Alright, on to the next game. We are on the last three 3DS games. So, bear with me here. But we got Pokemon Sun. So Pokemon Sun takes place in the Alolan region. That's what it's called. I had to think for a second there. But in the Alolan region, it's a lot of tropical, like it's essentially the same as any other Pokemon, but it did put a little bit of a twist to it. So instead of going to different gyms and fighting the leader, you're going through different trials to earn like different Z moves is what they're called, I think. But a lot of the Pokemon in this game are tropical themed, and they're like revamping old Pokemon. It was pretty cool. It was not my favorite Pokemon game. I didn't really enjoy it as much, even though it tried to do new things. I think the new things are cool. I just don't think that it worked as well with the Pokemon, in my opinion. It's just my opinion, though. But I still think Pokemon Sun is a good game, but it's not as good as the other 3DS ones. So for that, I will be giving it a 7 out of 10. Still good, though. Okay, we're on to the last two. So this next one is Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes. So in the Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes, you go through over 32 different dungeons. And the thing that's unique about Triforce Heroes is that you play and control all 3 of these links. So you have to play as all 3 of them, so you just keep switching between them, which is really cool. But another one of the cool things is that you can wear different outfits to gain different abilities. So as you can see on the back here, we have like a jester costume, like an 8-bit one, like a princess one, and like a bomb one. So I think they all grant you different abilities. Like the bomb one, it allows you to drop bombs. This one allows you to like walk on water, I believe. This one makes you go quicker. I forget the rest, but you get the gist. And the best part about this game is that if one player owns it, instead of having to control all three, you can invite two of your friends that also have a 2DS or a 3DS, and then each player can control their own. And the best part is, only one person needs to own the game. That's the thing I love about the 3DS, is that a lot of the time only one person needs to have the game for it to be able to be played among other people. And this game was just a ball. It was so much fun. It was a blast. The enemies were cool. It kind of was like a throwback game too to the old Zelda games. So for that, I will be giving it a solid 8.5 out of 10. 8.5 out of 10. Alright. Okay, on to the last 3DS game that I have. This is Pokemon Rumble Worlds. Pokemon Rumble Worlds. And in Pokemon Rumble World, you actually end up playing as the Pokemon, which I think is so cool. So you basically play as the Pokemon, and you go through different levels, fighting smaller versions of other Pokemon. And your main goal is to get to the final boss, which can be like a third evolution Pokemon or like a legendary. And you fight that Pokemon hoping to catch it. And then your entire goal is to like complete the Pokedex. So you're trying to fight the other Pokemon with your Pokemon. And then once you catch the Pokemon, you can use that Pokemon to fight the next set of Pokemon. It's kind of confusing, but it's actually really fun. It's engaging. It's a really fun game. Let me show you the front. And they're like little toys too. Like they look really cute, the models. And you can Mega Evolve in it too. Yeah, it's really good. Okay. I would give it about like a 8.5 out of 10. Or 8, just an 8 out of 10. Okay, well that was all for the 3DS games. Now we're on to the final DS games. Okay guys, okay. Moving on to the DS games. I don't have too many here, so don't worry. But for the first DS game, we have Pokemon White. Pokemon White. Now in Pokemon White, you travel through the Unova region, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what it's called. And you fight against Team Plasma this time. And you do very similar things to Omega Ruby. Like you go through different gyms. At the end you have to fight the champion. But honestly, I really love the legendaries in this one. Like this is Zekrom and the other one is Reshiram. I think that their designs are so cool. Well, his color is like completely black and then Reshiram's is all white. So it's pretty simple, but you know, sometimes simplicity is all you need because it's awesome. And the game actually changes season depending on the season that you're living in, which is neat. Overall, I would give it a solid, like, 8 out of 10. Actually, no, I'm gonna bump that up to a 9 out of 10 because this game is really good, actually. I did enjoy this game so much. All the new Pokemon they introduce as well are amazing. Okay, I have a few extra games right here, but they're actually just the cartridge, so you only get to see the little thing because they're from my case. So this one is Drawn to Life. Get a good focus there. So, Drawn to Life. The goal, I actually kind of forgot what the goal is, but the main premise is that you play as a character that you actually create. So you make your own character, and you draw it, and your drawing turns to life. I think that's the kind of the gist of the game. But it's a really nostalgic game for me. I played it a lot, and I really enjoyed drawing the different levels, because sometimes during the levels there will be obstacles. Like you'll need to make a boulder, but it's not that you have a boulder. The game makes you draw a boulder into life. And it's really cool. And you can draw whatever you want on it. And same with like platforms and like your life bars. It's really neat. It's really cool. Alright, and I think that'll be the last game for this video. It's been going on for a while. Also, I want to save some of them for like a future game store roleplay, so I want to keep it kind of fresh so I can show off some other games in those. It's not just repeating the same games over and over again. Yeah, that will be it for today's video. Let me show you all the games side by side now. There's a lot of them. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. Comment, like, and subscribe if you did, because it helps my channel out a lot. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.